The P-3 Orion, which took its first flight for the Navy more than 60 years ago, has served through some of our nation's most tumultuous times. From collecting intelligence during the Cuban Missile Crisis, monitoring enemy supply lines in Vietnam, conducting search and rescue missions during the Gulf War, and deploying into the eye of some of our world's most powerful hurricanes with Kermit and Miss Piggy. To say this aircraft has a robust history would be an understatement. Its numerous configurations, from the P-3 Alpha to the P-3 Charlie and the EP-3, combined with its multifaceted mission capabilities, have made this mighty aircraft a critical component of our nation's defense. It's abundantly clear why the P-3 is beloved by so many of you. After producing hundreds of P-3s during its lifetime at our command, you have all contributed in immeasurable ways to its mission readiness, reliability, and safety. Generations of artisans have invested their blood, sweat, and tears into the fabric of the P-3's history. Serving as the depot source of repair for more than 45 years, the P-3 has been one of our foundational and most revered product lines. Nearly 30 FRC Southeast commanders and countless hardworking artisans have led the charge to maintain, update, repair, and support these aircraft. It's irrefutable that FRC Southeast deserves a retirement ceremony dedicated to this aircraft and to the generations of employees that have helped sustain it. When the pandemic allows, rest assured, we will say a proper farewell. But for now, during these historically unprecedented times, we wanted to make sure that we celebrate the resolute P-3 and all those who love her.
Well, the first P-3 flew in August of 1958. 3.5 years later, in 1962, VP-8 made the very first transition where they finished flying the PTV Neptune and transitioned to the P-3. So the P-3 was originally developed for anti-submarine warfare. It's been doing that as its primary mission throughout the last 58 years of its operational history.
During the Cold War, we were tasked with tracking Soviet submarines, both attack submarines and ballistic missile submarines. It's a crazy game of cat and mouse. Submarines have a lot of different tactics to try to evade P-3s and other ASW equipment, but we eventually have the longevity on station to find them. So you wouldn't believe how many times we are able to locate a submarine just by finding the snorkel on the top of the water. Some of the different types of support that we've done is the ASW role in itself. We've also done search and rescue for fleet aircraft that have gone down. We've done over-the-horizon targeting for the fleet, and we've done logistics for the fleet as well.
It has grown in its mission set over the years to include overland surveillance, maritime surveillance, by other agencies. The Customs Drug Enforcement Agency uses it for counter-narcotics. They track drug runners. NOAA has 2 P-3s that they use for investigating hurricanes and researching hurricanes. The aircraft's been around a long time. You have multi-generational pilots, aircrew who have been on the plane. Their family members have been on the plane, fathers, sometimes even grandfathers. They all cherish their aircraft because they take them on long missions, long flights, 10 hours, 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours, and the planes consistently always bring them home safe and sound.
I've gone to places that were so far, for instance, up in the Arctic that, it took 1,000 miles to get up there, which is, 2.5 hours of transit, and then do an 8-hour mission at 200 feet off the water the whole time. The P-3 is one of the most under-recognized and maybe underappreciated aircraft that the Navy had in the fleet. I think the public wasn't aware of the types of flights and the types of missions that the P-3 does in support of the fleet.
The P-3 is very much a pilot's airplane. It is for people who understand the term, a stick and rudder airplane. There is not a lot of automation. Everything is manual. The plane requires a lot of manpower to fly. The controls are heavy.
You've got a feeling when you take the runway and all four are up on line and you're ready to go. Once you get off the deck, it's just a unique feeling of freedom, and the plane just is as smooth a ride as you can ask for in any other aircraft.
The P-3, I would say, were pioneers. You know, the engineering team we had, and even the artisans, and all the support that we had here. We came up with solutions to problems that people said we couldn't solve.
The P-3 is a very large platform. I mean, you can put several artisans on it. Matter of fact, it should be one of the bigger, when we was doing it, one of the bigger IPTs. I mean, you got so many areas on this particular aircraft. You got the horizontal, you got the engine, you got the landing gear, you got the flaps, the elevators, rudder. There's so much work on there, and the good thing about it is a lot of those components come off that P-3 and they ride out through the back shops, and you give other people work.
We were required to keep this aircraft flying. There were no other replacements. We had to do this for the Navy to meet its mission.
For a while there, most of the P-3 fleet was down, and the team that was on the P-3 line at that time worked most of the aircraft up at Hangar 1000. And they did an amazing job of getting those aircraft back up and ready for the fleet. Because like I said, without P-3s, you couldn't go out and do missions. And that's one time that the P-3 line got a lot of priority. They was the #1 priority, so it was great.
The work was challenging because, one, the extent of the damage that we were seeing. So it's not work that we typically would do here in terms of replacing every single lower wing plank or all four spar caps or corner fittings of the aircraft. Even just replacing an entire wing, you have to have the fixtures and assemblies put together. You have to make sure you maintain alignment, and there's a skill set for that. There's shimming requirements, there's gaps, there's preloads on parts, there's fastener certification, there's cold working, there's everything. So that's the challenging part, and FRC met it.
The pilot's trusting you to have a safe aircraft, and it's all about safety. I mean, we've been here for a lot of years, and I can't think of a time we've had a mishap. Matter of fact, I don't think we've had a mishap in it. So we've got a good track record. So when I work on the aircraft, or when my personnel work on the aircraft, quality is #1. You know, we be out here the majority of the day. We be out here more than we be with our family sometimes. And the thing about it, if you worked on it, no matter which platform you worked on, a lot of people, when people retire, they don't forget about this place.
I'm one of those people that have that strong connection. I've worked P-3s, as I said, for 18 years directly, and then indirectly for 33 years. Long service life of the aircraft. It's been around forever. We've seen it here forever. We've worked on it. We've come to know it.
A lot of times they'll call back, check just to see how it's doing, because it's just like family. But when you worked on a P-3, I mean, you got something you can talk about, and you got stuff you can talk to your kids about. Whether you're here at the depot or whether you're retired, you're still part of the FRC Southeast family.
While we say farewell to this beloved aircraft without formality and fanfare, it's clear that the FRC Southeast family will continue to reflect on its impact for years to come. We sincerely hope that this video will serve as a way to recognize and remember the contributions the P-3 and all of you have made to secure the freedoms we all enjoy.